Hello and welcome to the Basketball Show. I'm Nathan Strempel. It's been a big week in basketball. Stephen Holt's out this week. The Sydney Uni Flames broke their streak in Southeast Melbourne. Phoenix got Mitch Creek and, as always, joined by Shane the Hammer Hill.
Great to be here, mate. I missed the NBL on the weekend, but how good was it be around the Boomers again?
It's great to see you in the green and gold, looking good as always. I want to hear the story behind that, but first of all, a big thank you to our partners. Thank you to Unibet. Thank you to Alcatel and also our media partner, the Daily Telegraph, and all their sister publications around the country. We're brought to you by those fine folk. Hammer, talk to us about the green and gold.
Well, I couldn't get a Boomers singlet, so I had to call my little mate Mick, and he's had it for the last 14 years, since 2004. I said, Mick, I need it for tonight's show. Went down there, and here I am. So still fits. Can't believe it.
I'm sitting there making out some of those names. Athens 2004.
There you go. Good memories. Proud memories.
I was going to say some proud history of the Boomers there. It was great to see them in action this week, qualifying for the World Cup. But as we do get going now, Shane, right here in throwbackstore.com.au, it is time for Under the Hammer. Who is under the hammer this week?
Well, I feel a bit bad. It pains me this week to be able to put under the hammer. It's an experience with the Boomers. All we wanted to do, Director Dave, he sent out an email prior to the Boomers games, and we just wanted 2-3 minute segments with some of the stars for the Boomers to get to know them a little bit more. Because when I walk down the street, and if I asked people and said, who's our most famous Boomers, or do you know anyone playing for the Boomers, they'd probably still say Andrew Gaze. They'd probably still say, maybe not Phil Smythe, that's maybe a little bit too old, but depending on what state you're in, you know what I'm talking about. And it was an opportunity for us to really be able to get them in crunch time and expose them, but we didn't even hear back. Not even hear back. So they were in town for 4 or 5 days. Opportunity, they'd already won. Opportunity to be able to sit down with those guys and to be able to give them exposure, because we want to know their personalities and get them out there into the community so more people follow the Boomers and support the Boomers like we do. So I'm disappointed, but unfortunately the media guy at Basketball Australia this week, you're under the hammer. Don't do it again.
Going once, going twice, gone. Under the hammer. Boomers qualifying for the World Cup, but just not here on the Basketball Show. It's now time to give a little bit of love. We enjoy this segment every week as you give someone a bit of a stroke.
Yeah, and the perfect, people and team and everything is Tommy Greer this week. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. Well done. Mitch Creek, the marquee player, and he had to be at the top of the list of who you would go after. But I'm not sure that he'll actually be here. He's still got dreams of playing in the NBA, and he's playing some good basketball right now, so he won't give up on that. But it's worth the roll of the dice for Tommy Greer and the Phoenix anyway, because he was the most dominant Australian in the competition last year. He was a superstar.
It's great to see too. Tommy, great relationship with Mitch. They played together in the Seagull at Nunawading, and formed a relationship with them as Mitch was really taken off the NBL. And just Tommy said they're in full support of Mitch's NBA dream, but it's just nice to see the refreshing honesty from Mitch. He comes out and the day he signed, manages to tick off 2 NBL clubs as he goes right at the 36ers and say they'll regret letting him go and regretting what went down then, and also just said he can't wait to go out against Melbourne United.
Well, he certainly didn't he? He didn't mince his words, and I think that's great for the NBL as well. That's exactly what we need, and can't wait to have him back. Great signing.
Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, Tommy Greer, this week you are getting stroked. It's time now for the Unibet Game Previews. So week off from the NBL games last week, so all pokes deemed irrelevant, I believe.
No, sorry.
Okay, when you're ready. Do you want it now? Do you want it later?
I might just go right now.
Come on, ready?
You ready? I'm changing fingers too, because I reckon I've got more strength in this one. You ready?
In the middle.
Oh, a little bit. So I went in the middle finger that time too.
It's an honour to be touched by the same fingers that the fans in Adelaide got united with as you were walking off the court many years ago. Could have got it with both hands. Let's move into the Unibet Game Preview. First up, and isn't it great to have NBL back? We missed it over the weekend. First up, in Sydney, they're at home to Perth.
Game of the round. Game of the round. How good have the Perth Wildcats been? I mean, we've pumped them up.
They've only dropped one.
Yeah, they've been unbelievable. And this is the team you didn't have in the top 4, right?
Yes,
okay.
Tarico was a different player than who he was pre-season.
The same guy. But I'm going to go for the Sydney Kings. They are playing great basketball. They're just on the right move at the moment. A little bit unsure about Bryce Cotton, so I think he'll probably play, but probably hasn't put in the same amount of shooting as what he has in the past as well. But I think the Sydney Kings are playing great basketball. They'll be up for this. Didn't have anybody on the Australian team in a way, so they had a couple of weeks to be able to prepare.
Just refresh the bodies. Cool. So Perth have just managed to keep winning with 3 or 4 of their starters.
Yeah, they've done well.
They've got
I can't stroke them anymore. I'm just telling you who I think is going to win this.
Sydney, good. I just say, just work out a challenge somewhere along the way. Cairns looking to snap their losing streak. They're at home against Illawarra.
Well, they haven't been great, Cairns. I mean, let's be honest about that. But I think they'll win this game. I think they have to win this game. If we go back to earlier in the season, the Illawarra Hawks actually went and smashed Cairns on their floor. But I think they'll learn a lot. I think they'll be desperate for this game. They will have had a little bit of time to be able to get themselves ready as well and prepared. And I'm going to go Cairns 1-10, Sydney 1-10 as well.
Okay, just thinking about a challenge along the lines.
Go on.
You're going in different directions.
That?
You
Go
thought.
on.
Brisbane home to Melbourne. Just
I reckon this one's the closest one of the round. I reckon this is
Agreed.
a flip of the coin. I think with the way Jason Kadee and Cam Glidden played for the Boomers, 10 threes in that last game, found some serious shooting form, gives them a serious chance. But I'm not going to go against Melbourne United. I'm going to go 1-10. I think it's going to be a close game, but a real flip of the coin. It wouldn't surprise me to see the Brisbane Bullets win this game.
Yeah, and I'm going to challenge there because either way, wherever you went, I had to go the other way. That's a close one, so I'm going to go Brisbane. Jeremy Kendall in, Stephen Holt out, Jason Kadee finding a bit of shooting form, and my cheek riding with the Brisbane Bullets at home. New Zealand, home to Sydney.
I can't pick New Zealand. I don't care where the game's played. They have to show that they're together, that they want to play defence, but they're just not gelling. They've got all the talent across the floor. Don't worry about that. Their talent is as good as any team in the league, but they're just not getting it done. So I think Sydney's already done it in New Zealand, and I think they'll take that confidence and go and do it again. You've still got New Zealand in the top 4 too, right?
Sydney 2-0 for the weekend. You've changed your order as the season's gone on, haven't you?
After the first week.
Yeah, okay, good. Sydney 2-0 for the weekend. Adelaide at home to Illawarra.
Adelaide will be too strong. They'll win by 20 plus. Can that be a margin? I think they'll win by 2. No, I think we say 11 plus, but I think this will be one-sided. They won by 25 points after being down 11 in the first quarter. So it was a 36-point turnaround the last time these two teams played in Adelaide. Then they returned serve and actually got the win in Illawarra. But I think Adelaide are going to be hungry for this one.
What I can guarantee is that is one to watch.
Yep.
Perth.
See where they've circled that one. They might have circled it though.
Hopefully they circle everyone. Perth at home to Cairns.
Perth are going to crush Cairns, I would have thought, over there. I think they lose that game in Sydney. They go back home, and in front of that massive crowd, they just trottle on their merry way, and I think that one's 11 plus.
And then finally, a bit of a double-double, just a taste of a final series in this. They come from Brisbane back to Melbourne, Melbourne at home to Brisbane.
Well, I'm going to go Melbourne again. I went for them on the road, but again, this is a game that I think will be close. Melbourne 1-10. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me to see Brisbane win that first game. Adelaide won't win in Brisbane, but Brisbane might. But I think they'll lose both on the weekend. The Bullets, even though I like the way they're tracking and the way they're looking, I just don't think they're going to get it done. Just maybe a little bit short.
My cheek is hoping they manage to find their way in the early one. We move on to the WNBL. The Sydney Uni Flames broke a 12-game losing streak to get the win. And a big win against Bendigo. They travel to Melbourne to face a red-hot Melbourne Boomers.
Well, I couldn't believe that score when I saw it because they've got one of their best players out in Bunton. So I don't think they're going to get it done.
And Alex Wilson.
So 2 starters, 2 very, very good players. So huge win for them, but I can't see it happening against Melbourne. I think that's 11 plus. Melbourne still haven't played their best basketball. I think we said last week they'll win 1-10. They won by 5. Not convincing at the moment, but they're just so much more powerful than Sydney.
And just while we're on the WNBL, very quickly, shout out to Susie Bakovic becoming the all-time WNBL leading scorer over the last week.
So legend.
Bit of credit
no doubt about that. And won championships along the way as well.
Oh, she's done it all, so credit to Susie. Moving on to the NBA. Utah hosting Houston Friday afternoon our time.
Well, I'm going to go for Utah. They've just started to be able to fight back a little bit and get a little bit of form. We know Houston's going to be up and down, and the style of play for Utah, I think they'll get that done at home 1-10.
Utah needing to find their way this season. We move on to San Antonio hosting the LA Lakers, who are getting it done with LeBron. That's Sunday lunchtime our time.
Yeah, I'm going to go for San Antonio because it's at home, but they haven't been playing great basketball. Found a way to be able to sprinkle in a few wins as well, but like you say, the Lakers have been playing well, and we knew that LeBron would be able to carry the team to a certain extent. Seems like it's a pretty good gel there, but I'm going to go San Antonio 1-10.
Milwaukee with potentially the MVP in Giannis hosting Golden State Saturday afternoon our time.
The Greek freak. And mate, no one can stop him for MVP, I don't think. He really is a freak. He's just a man among boys at the moment, I reckon. And I'm going to go Golden State, though. I've written down Milwaukee, but I'm going to go Golden State. Steph's back. He's going to start getting that flow on. He's going to make it happen. And I just think they'll rock in there with a big challenge to be able to say, the Bucks are playing great basketball, but hey, look at what we've done and look at what we can still do. 1-10.
KD and Draymond kiss and make up. The Hawks fans yelling at
Well, Steph's back, mate. They win 80% of the games when Steph's in there.
It's a fair call. He does make a big difference. Finally, in the NBA, Chicago hosting Boston Sunday lunchtime, our time. Chicago having just fired their head coach.
Well, they've just got rid of him. Said, see you later. And they're not going to improve from here. I don't know how that's going to help them. I think Boston have just started to get back on track a little bit. A big win. They'll win by 11 plus in this one, but it could be a much bigger margin than that, I reckon.
Boston just finding their rhythm. Gordon Hayward finding a bit of form.
How good was he the other day?
Very good to watch. Go the Celtics. That is the Unibet Game Previews for this week. It's now time for Shane to go under the clock with the hottest 5 topics in basketball at the moment. It's time for the starting 5. And first of all, our Boomers qualify for the World Cup in 2019.
Well, how good were they? Now, NBL guys that have been able to carry the fort for a little bit of period now, and Andre Lamanis and the culture that they've been able to build. Andre's done a great job. There's no doubt about that. And I was really happy to see them on fire in the second game. It was a dead rubber, but 10 threes from Jason Gadee and Cam Glidden. They were on fire. Put on a little bit of a show for the 3,000 or 4,000 people that turned up.
Moving forward then, qualified now for the World Cup already, so what do you see that February window as?
Well, I think a lot of guys will still want to play. This isn't a team that you want to relinquish your spot and say, listen, I might just sit out this one. I think you put your hand up. But if I'm Andre Lamanis, I'm looking ahead. Like Adrian Hurley did in 1988, he brought in Longley, Vlahoff, Bradkey, future stars. I would do exactly the same with Harry Froling. He is a boomer of the future, and he's ready to be able to contribute now and to be able to learn from those games.
And 2 of those guys you mentioned now, assistant coaches, still part of the program. Speaking of the FIBA window, NBL fans talking a bit about whether that's a chance to bring back the All Star game. What do you think about that?
Hell no, not at that time. I want the NBL All Star game, and not only do I want an All Star game, I want it where it's Aussies against the imports.
That's the way it has to be.
Those games were awesome, where there's a little bit of pride on the line as well. But that's not the time to have it. It needs to be a standalone weekend, and we need to celebrate how great our game is and the amount of talent we've got. And those guys going head-to-head would make it a sensational weekend. It's got to be on its own.
Yeah, I like it. Now moving to the WNBL, Susie Bakovic, 5-time WNBL champ, 6-time WNBL MVP. We mentioned earlier in the show she's now the all-time leading scorer going past Rachel Spawn.
3 Olympics as well. Unbelievable what she's been able to do. But 6 championships, it's incredible, really. She has just dominated this league. And I think that's the most impressive thing, because you could read out how many points she's got and everything else, but she's just been able to lead other people no matter. There's been a whole lot of players change around her, but she's been that constant of being able to say, come and get me, because I am the gun right now. And she's just had so much success. Well done.
Yeah, she's a star. Shout out from the basketball show, Suze. And finally, changed during the FIBA window. The Brisbane Bullets moving on Stephen Holt, bringing in Jeremy Kendall as a short-term replacement with a permanent one still to be announced.
Well, I mean, we questioned it from the start. He shouldn't have been here from day one. So they've finally picked the right time to be able to move him on. He obviously got wind of it, didn't want to be part of it, so he's been released. Jeremy Kendall, who has played really well at the lower levels, hasn't played so well at the NBL level, so he will be really enjoying his opportunity. But obviously it's short term, and they're bringing in somebody that hopefully is a superstar and will give him a chance to be able to win.
Yeah, and there is the 5 hottest topics of the week. The starting 5, Shane Heal on the clock. Coming off the FIBA window, just a nice time to touch base on the season thus far. And Hammer, who have you got as your NBL All Star 5 or NBL first team so far this season?
Well, I feel like I'm going to get smashed on this. I think this is a no-win
fair enough, you get smashed whoever you choose. It's very close at the top.
Yeah, I think that's the way it is. And what I've done is I actually haven't picked them by position because in this day and age, it's positionless basketball. I don't play in that. So what I've done is I've gone with Bryce Cotton. No one can argue with Bryce Cotton. He can play one or two spot, plays on the perimeter. I've gone with Casper Ware. I mean, he really has been a superstar for a long time. Started slow, but he's been incredible. His team's at the top with Perth as well, so they both deserve to be there. And I've gone Jerome Randall as well. So some people say, cut it out, you've gone with 3 point guards. But I've gone with 3 perimeter players. They can play together. And Randall has played great basketball. So that's 1, 2 and 3 for the teams on the ladder.
Do you want to unpack that backcourt, or do you just want to go through your whole team?
Well,
Melo Trimble's had a really good year.
He's had a great year.
He's gone for 3 point guards that are not him.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about them over Trimble?
Well, his team's won 1 game.
And Nathan Sobey playing the one this year, leading the league in assists.
Geez, you got off Trimble.
I'm just asking you questions. Trimble's challenging. I'm just letting you explain why.
Trimble's been awesome. I love Trimble. He's got a great game, but he needs to get some wins for his team. And so he's good. Nathan Sobey's been fantastic. I love them both. But I don't think Nathan Sobey has been better than those 3 on the perimeter, and his team hasn't had the same results as well, but tremendous player, no doubt about that.
Yeah, he's only led the league in assists, but I'm just giving you a little jab before everyone else does, so that's fine. Go to your front court now then. Cotton,
can you throw Glidden in there?
Well, yeah, Cam Glidden's been good, and if you've gone 3 guards, if someone at the 3 spot, maybe someone else with some links, DJ Kennedy, Toddy Blanchfield's been all right.
Yeah, Kennedy's been good. Blanchfield's been good, but not All-Star 5. DJ Kennedy certainly would be before Blanchfield, and Cam Glidden's been great. But again, Glidden and Blanchfield, their team, they're not in the top 4 as well. So I think it's really difficult for them unless they're helping their teams get significant wins. And that's why I've really stacked it. All 5 of mine, because then in the 4 spot, I've gone with Nick Kay. And he has been incredible. I think he averaged like 21 and I don't know how many rebounds and 5 assists in the last 2 games. He carried their team. He's just been a fantastic pickup for the Perth Wildcats. That blue-collar worker but can still put points on the board. He's going to be a long-term Wildcat. And them picking Norton and Kay, perfect combination. And then you have to have Andrew Bogut. I mean, no one can argue with Bogut. He's probably the first selected with the way he's been able to dominate the paint and set all sorts of records.
Yes, and Nick Kay's super consistent, so it is hard to argue. The other names in the front court there, maybe Josh Boone, Daniel Johnson, Ty Wesley are probably the other ones that come up, but Nick, everyone points to Bryce Cotton.
Same answer with Ty Wesley and Daniel Johnson. The team's not winning. All 5 of those guys are in the top 3 teams because not only have they played well individually, they've made their team win. And but it shows the depth of talent we've got as well, because some of those guys that you've mentioned are having fantastic individual years, a year. And some of their teammates need to be able to step up as well, because they're certainly carrying a lot of the load.
Fair enough, though. Give you credit, justify what you've done, and as the season goes on, Demetrius Conga's come in late, Lamar Patterson's come in late. Did they get in the conversation? But
they're definitely in the conversation, right?
Yeah.
They have to be, because the way Conga was last year, and I love Lamar Patterson, been on him from the start. He's a superstar. He's going to prove to be one of the best imports in the competition. So I think by the end of the year, depending on how all the form goes and everything else, that could very well change.
Great to celebrate the talent in the league, but to this point in the season, Shane Hill's NBL first team, Casper Ware Jr., Jerome Randall, Bryce Cotton, Nick Kay and Andrew Bogut. Well, since our friends at Alcatel promised a mobile phone to all of our superstars, the Alcatel Superstar has been flooded with entries, so I'm very keen to see who our superstar is for this week.
Hayden Tomlinson. Well done, mate. Check out some of these highlights. And he certainly knows what to do with the ball, Hayden. Have a little hesitation, a little goose step. All the way to the bucket for a bit of a run-up. Does it on the right-hand side, uses you can't say glass because it's a wooden backboard. That time he uses the glass. And again, showing a few little tricks off the dribble, Hayden. And plays for St. George. So big year last year. And I like the hesitations, the way he goes about his business here. And a little bit for us to be able to look at. So well done, Hayden. Keep up the good work, mate. And you have got a phone from Alcatel on the way.
Love the handles, love the change of pace. Hayden, you are this week's Alcatel superstar. And that's all we've got time for this week. It's a big week in basketball. It's going to be great to have the NBL back.
So many good games this week. I cannot wait.
Thanks for joining us this week on The Basketball Show. Big thank you to our partners, UNIBET, Alcatel, and our media partner, the Daily Telegraph, and all their associated publications around the country. And also thank you to throwbackstore.com.au. Come in and get yourself a jersey sometime. And thanks to you, Shane Hill. Do it again next week.
Great to be here, mate. Can't wait.
Folks, we'll see you again next week. That's The Basketball Show.